Have you ever read a book so terrifying you had to sleep with the light on? Well, I have 10 times, and I'm going to tell you all about them. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Carly, and today I'm going to be telling you about my top 10 spooky books. I bloody love a spooky book. I love books that absolutely terrify me. I'm also the type of person that will watch the entire Conjuring franchise just to cheer myself up. These are mainly ghosty kind of haunted house spooky books, but we have got a cheeky little dystopian body horror in there as well. These books made me check under my bed and check behind the shower curtain just in case something was there, and they range from deeply unsettling to way off the scale, this book needs to be burned and probably cleansed by something holy. To be honest, as somebody who suffers with horrendous anxiety, I honestly don't know why I choose to read books that make it 10 times worse, but I just love it. I absolutely love the feeling of being terrified out of my skin. So if you do too, turn down your lights, lock your doors, and let's get spooky. Before we get into the books, I just want to say a huge thank you for being here. If you are enjoying my content, please don't forget to hit that little subscribe button. It honestly means the absolute world to me, and I would love it if you decided to stick around. Let's kick things off with a fairly mild spooky book. We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough. So this is a new release. I think it was only released last month, and it is by the same author that wrote Behind Her Eyes. If you haven't read that book, then it is an absolute masterpiece, and it's also been turned into a Netflix series, which is phenomenal. The twist at the end literally blew my mind. Anyway, back to this book. The haunted house vibes in this book were absolutely immaculate. Like, this is how you write a spooky house. You actually get a triple POV, so three. So you've got the POV of the wife, Emily, you've got the POV of the husband, Freddie, and then you've also got the POV of a raven. And I know it sounds strange, and to be honest, it is a little bit strange. In this story, we follow Emily. She has recently woken up from a coma after a really bad accident where she nearly lost her life, and she has agreed to move to the moors of Devon to start afresh with her husband, Freddie. A fresh start is exactly what her and Freddie need, but their dreams soon turn to dust when they realise their new home and their dream home is dusty, abandoned, and just something about it feels very wrong. There are strange sounds at night. There is this god-awful smell of decay and rot. And there's this bloody nail that keeps appearing in the floorboards, even when it's been pulled out. There's also creepy messages being written in the steam on the mirror. And there's a stack of books that literally spells out the most terrifying message. I won't spoil it for you. All in all, the setting is just super creepy. It's very eerie. And if that wasn't enough, Emily's husband, Freddie, is definitely up to something. He's definitely lying to her. And that's all I'm going to say about the story. It just builds and escalates until it reaches this jaw-dropping, twisty finale. Like, there is no way in a million years anybody would ever guess the twist in this book. I absolutely loved it. It is so clever. It is classic Sarah Pinborough, and this is the perfect book if you're wanting to just dip your toe into the spooky kind of genre. Next up, we have got Play Nice by Rachel Harrison, and this is one I read last month. I actually had an advanced copy sent to me by the publisher, and it's actually being released on the 9th of September. So it's not long to wait at all, and I highly recommend you add this to your list if you love a spooky kind of possession horror. So this is another spooky haunted house vibe, and in this book we follow Cleo. She is an influencer, and after the recent death of her mother, she ends up going back to her childhood home to renovate it. The sole purpose she has gone back to this house is literally to get content for her social media. She is hiding secrets of extreme family dysfunction and the fact that this house she grew up in was supposed to be haunted. Her recently deceased mother was an alcoholic, and she actually wrote a book which was published. And apparently this book is supposed to represent what happened in that house when Cleo and her sisters were growing up. Cleo and her sisters have made a pact with each other that they would never read the book and relive these horrors. But once the reno work starts, Cleo actually begins to think that maybe her mother was right about the house being haunted. Curiosity gets the better of her and she starts reading the book that her mother wrote. So not only have we got a spooky haunted house vibe and a modern day influencer, we've also got a book within a book element, which I personally absolutely love in books. I bloody love this book, and considering I don't know if it's supposed to be like really, really creepy, but I found the haunted house elements in this book, they actually terrified me. Like when Cleo was on her own in this house and all the spooky, unexplained things started happening, I'm not going to lie, I was a bit scared. I absolutely love Rachel Harrison's writing style, and the way she writes characters, they're just so relatable. I would highly recommend this book if demons and modern day haunted houses are your vibe. Next up, we have got The Whistling by Rebecca Netley, which is a gothic ghost story set on an isolated Scottish island. I mean, could it be more perfect? This follows the story of Elspeth. She arrives on this isolated Scottish spooky island to become a nanny to a little girl called Mary. However, Mary is mute and she hasn't spoken a word to anybody for months. So Elspeth is hoping that she can bond with Mary, find out what happened to her, find out what happened to Mary's twin, and get Mary to talk, basically. Everything is very creepy. It's very mysterious. The setting, the dark gothic setting, is absolutely delicious. We have got the classic unexplained noises at night, unexplained disappearances, staff that are whispering rumours. There's also people in the local village that are whispering rumours about people who used to live in that house, what happened to the previous nanny. And to top it all off, Elspeth keeps hearing this whistling sound at night. To be honest, the vibes in this book were absolutely spot on. It is everything you could want from a gothic ghost story. The creepy, atmospheric setting was perfect. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. Next up, we have got my dystopian body horror book, Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Bazterrica. This is a fairly short book. I think it is just over 200 pages. And oh my God, does this book pack a punch? So in this book, all animals have been infected by a virus, meaning they are unfit for human consumption. So instead of becoming vegetarian or vegan, the people in this book, they decide to breed humans for human consumption instead. And to be honest, the concept alone is absolutely terrifying. But when you hear about how they process the humans, it's a no from me. So throughout this book, we basically follow the story of Marcos. He is a worker. He works in the slaughterhouse where they slaughter these humans for consumption. And we basically find out in very graphic detail how they process the humans. It is very gory. Like I said, it's very graphic. So please do check trigger warnings before going into this book, because honestly, some of the scenes in this actually made me feel physically sick. But, I mean, we listen and we don't judge. I absolutely love this book. And I tell you what, I didn't expect the massive twist at the end. It literally, I was reading it, having a lovely time, but I don't think I was having a lovely time. I think I was bordering on full-blown trauma reading this book. But I got to the end, read the twist, and it just finished. It just left me in a state of absolute disbelief. And I bloody loved it. Right, next up we have got The Exorcist's House by Nick Roberts, and this one is actually available on Kindle Unlimited. And this book terrified me so much, I actually had to sleep with my bedroom light on for 2 nights in a row. I'm not even joking, it absolutely scared me to death. Do you know what I find really strange as well? I don't know if anybody else is the same, but I find kind of like body horror and really graphic, gory books and films don't really bother me too much. You know, like the more realistic ones that could actually happen don't really faze me. However, the gothic, ghosty kind of possession books, they really, really get under my skin. And this one literally gave me the heebies. So this is set in the 90s, which I absolutely love. I grew up in the 90s, so we had the little bit of nostalgia in there. And it follows the story of Daniel, who, along with his wife and teenage daughter, moved to this rustic farmhouse in West Virginia. They are absolutely swept away by the beauty of this house and its surroundings until they go down into the basement and they find a secret room that has a well in it that has been boarded up and is surrounded by crucifixes. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? There are rumours circulating that the previous owner of the house was an exorcist. And to be honest, the things that happen in this book just get creepier and creepier and more terrifying as the book goes on, until it builds up to this massive showdown finale that absolutely blew my socks off. And it ended on such a cliffhanger that even though this book absolutely terrified me and I had to sleep with my light on after reading it, I can't bloody wait to read book 2. And it is actually the first book going on this year's spooky season TBR. I can't wait. Maybe I'll get some lavender spray to go on my pillow after I've read it. Next up, we have got a bit of a controversial one. And I say controversial because this book seems to be one of the biggest opinion dividers in the book community. We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kliewer. Like, I feel like there's no middle ground with this book. People either loved it or they absolutely despised it. And I'm happy to report that I'm firmly in the loved it camp. This is another book that got right under my skin and gave me the biggest heebies ever. And it follows the story of Charlie and Eve. They are absolutely thrilled with the bargain they have had on their new house. But one afternoon, a man knocks on their door saying that he used to live in this house 3 years ago and he's wondering if he can show his family around. I mean, I'm not being funny or anything, but who the bloody hell lets a complete stranger and his family into their house? It's an absolute no from me. And as I was reading this part of the book, I was actually screaming at it, going, no, don't let them in the house. Like, don't be so stupid. But I mean, if she didn't let them in the house, we wouldn't have a book, would we? As soon as they enter the house, of course, creepy things start happening. Eve is desperate for them to leave, but they're not taking the hint. And it just gets worse and worse because the whole family end up stranded there after they get a severe weather warning. Honestly, this is one of the creepiest books ever. The things that happen just get creepier and creepier. Charlie, Eve's wife, goes missing and it all just becomes an absolute nightmare, to be honest. Personally, I absolutely loved this book. The creepy vibes, the setting, oh my God, the dread and the anxiety this book gave me when I read it is exactly what I want from a haunted house spooky book. But I can totally see why this book has divided so many opinions, because that ending was so bloody ambiguous. And you know what? I am not usually a huge fan of an ambiguous ending. I like everything rounded up nicely. I like to have answers. But I don't know if it could have ended any other way, you know? I don't know if it would have had the same impact. I still think about this book to this day. I read it nearly a year ago. Absolutely loved it. Highly recommend. Just go into it preparing to have your mind blown and be left with loads of questions and absolutely no answers. Next up, we have got Diavola by Jennifer Thorne. And this is your classic gothic ghost story, but it is set in a Tuscan villa and it's kind of a little bit modern as well. Have I just contradicted myself? Maybe, but the vibes are immaculate. This follows the story of an extremely dysfunctional family. They are on holiday in a villa in Tuscany and lots of unexplained things start happening in this villa. There are rumours amongst the locals about a ghost living there. All of the locals are telling them not to open the door at the top of the stairs. I mean, of course they open the door, because if they didn't open the door, we wouldn't have a book. The food in the villa starts rotting almost immediately. There are strange sounds at night. You know, all the usual creepy things. I absolutely loved the creepy locked door at the top of the stairs. I just love anything like that. A secret room, a locked door, But because there's the mystery, isn't there? Like, what's behind the door? I'm always too curious. See, I would probably open the door as well and would most definitely end up dead. I loved the setting of the Tuscan villa, but we've also got the more modern side of the family as well. It's another one that escalates. I mean, I do just feel like books in general do that, and they build the creeping dread throughout, and then they escalate into this full-blown finale. We have got full-blown unhinged female ghost rage, which I absolutely loved. And this book actually made me scared to look in the mirror while I was brushing my teeth, just in case old Diavola was stood behind me. If you've read this book, you'll know exactly what I mean. Next up, we have got The Watchers by A.M. Shine, and this is gothic folklore horror at its finest. It has got the most creepy forest setting, and this forest is nowhere to be found on a map. And when anybody tries to drive through it, their car breaks down, like the electrics fail, the car breaks down and they end up stranded. And in this book, we have got our main character, Mina. She does just that. She tries to drive through the forest and her car breaks down. She's left stranded, and her only option to find a way out is to try and go through the forest. Don't go through the forest, Mina. As Mina is walking through the forest, trying to find a way out, she spots a woman stood at the door of a bunker, literally screaming at her to run. Like, run for your life, get inside this bunker now. Literally fast-paced, oh my God, full of anxiety, get inside right now type vibes. And once Mina is inside this bunker and the door is firmly shut, she realizes there are other people inside this bunker, and the whole of the front of the bunker is just glass. It is clear glass from floor to ceiling. And once nighttime comes, out from underground come these, they call them the Watchers, who are, I mean, I don't even know how to describe what they are. They're very tall, they're very dark, and they're very creepy. They're very dangerous as well. And they literally just stand there staring, watching these people inside the bunker. But if they were to venture outside the bunker, let's just say they wouldn't last very long. Mina is desperate for answers. She hasn't got a bloody clue what's going on. She wants to know who these people are in this bunker, how long they've been there, why they can't get out, why can't they escape this forest. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say, to be honest. I actually did this one on audio, and I highly recommend the audio. The narrator was absolutely fantastic. I loved the twist at the end of this. It got me. Do you know what? This had me hooked the whole way through. I was so invested, absolutely terrified. And I also have to give a little shout out to the sequel, which is called Stay in the Light, which in my opinion, I actually found a little bit better than the original, which I know is very rare. But yeah, highly recommend both. I absolutely love A.M. Shine. Which brings me on to my next recommendation, The Creeper by A.M. Shine, which is another one that is absolutely bloody fabulous. This is another one that's also fantastic on audio. It is your classic horror suspense novel. It follows the story of Ben and Chloe. So they have been chosen by Dr. Sparlin to help him with a project on this remote Irish village that he's been studying. Very similar vibes to the forest in The Watchers. This village has no recorded history. It's isolated, and all of the people that live there, come sundown, completely lock down their houses and no one's to be seen. None of them will talk about this nameless fear that haunts the streets, apart from a little girl. And what she says to Ben and Chloe, quite frankly, is bloody terrifying. All she says to them is, 3 times you see him, and each time he comes closer. I mean, that I would literally be gone. Bye. I'm not doing this project anymore. And yep, you guessed it. That night, after Ben and Chloe go back to where they're staying, what do they see staring back at them? A tall, sinister figure in the distance. He is known as the Creeper, and they've only got 2 more times to see him before their time is up. This is absolutely fantastic. AM Shine has just got this way of instilling creeping, anxiety-filled dread in you whenever you read his books. It made me too scared to look out of my window. The village actually reminded me a little bit of the village in the film called The Village. I don't know if anybody has seen that, by M. Night Shyamalan. I don't know how you say that surname. I've probably absolutely butchered that. But that is kind of the vibes that the village in this book gave me. I actually think this book would make a fantastic film. It was so atmospheric and so well done. And in my opinion, it is the perfect, extremely chilling, terror-inducing folklore horror. Next up, we have got one of my absolute faves, The Silent Companions by Laura Purcell. And this is what I would describe as being more of a historical gothic horror. Honestly, the creepy companions in this book absolutely terrified me. I think the tagline of this book is something like, "Some doors are locked for a reason." And as I have previously mentioned, I love nothing more than a locked door, especially if there's something creepy behind it. So in this book, we follow Elsie. She has recently been widowed and she is sent to her husband's estate, called the Bridge, to see out her pregnancy. But when she arrives, the local villagers are hostile, the staff are very resentful, and to be honest, Elsie is not having a great time. Elsie discovers this locked room inside the house, which obviously she unlocks. And inside this room, she finds a 200-year-old diary. Again, I bloody love it. I love letters or diaries or anything like that with a bit of mystery. It's my absolute fave. Not only does she find a diary in this room, she also finds the most creepy. They call them silent companions. And you know what? I didn't actually know they were a thing. They were actually a thing in this era. Is it the Victorian era? And they are kind of like, I'm going to put a photo and overlay up of what they look like, because I'm telling you now, I would not be having these in my house. They are so creepy. It's an immediate no from me. Anyway, Elsie finds one of these wooden kind of statue things in this locked room, and it bears a striking resemblance to Elsie herself. Do you know what? I have seen so many reviews from people saying that they weren't scared by this book. I don't know if I'm just an absolute wimp, but this book absolutely gave me the fear. Like, I was terrified while I was reading it. My heart was racing. I had sweaty palms. There is just something about a Victorian setting where all the creepy things happen at night and their only source of light is a candle. Like, oh my God, it is perfect. Absolutely love it. So yeah, the vibes throughout the whole book were absolutely immaculate in my opinion. And just to top it off, the ending, the twist at the end of this book was absolutely phenomenal. And there's actually book 2. When is book 2 out? I've got a feeling the sequel is out next month. So of course, book 2 is going straight on my spooky season TBR. Next up, we have got Horrorstör by Grady Hendrix. And this book, honestly, I had so much fun while I was reading it. I'm actually going to show you my copy of the book because it literally looks like an IKEA catalogue. Grady Hendrix, do you know what? I think I have gone into some of his books previously with completely the wrong expectations. If you go into his books just expecting nothing more than a fun time and not taking anything too seriously, you're going to bloody love them. Right, I'm just going to go hands-free a second so that I can show you some of, because it's illustrated as well. Like, there's some of the vandalism that they find. So I'll tell you what the story's about now. But it's got, like, furniture, you know, like you would find in a flat pack. Honestly, the book itself is absolutely incredible. And I think because of the way it was set out, it was just so fun to read. So it is your typical kind of like creepy haunted house horror book, but the setting isn't a house. It's an IKEA store that's not actually called IKEA for copyright purposes, obviously. So basically, the furniture store in this book, something strange seems to happen overnight. And every morning the workers come in, there's vandalism, there's broken furniture. Nobody really knows what's going on. So in order to solve the mystery of exactly what's going on, 5 employees volunteer to work a night shift. So yeah, they basically spend the whole night. So it's like an IKEA sleepover, although not a lot of sleeping happens and it's more a shift of absolute nightmares. Honestly, some of the things these employees encounter during their night shift absolutely defy all logic and imagination. This book just got crazier and crazier and more unhinged as the story went on. Also, so I'm not going to show you any more of the book because I don't want to spoil it, but the illustrations of the furniture also gets more and more sinister as the book goes on. Honestly, I cannot recommend this book enough. It is so fun to read, even though it is also absolutely terrifying, very, very spooky, and actually a little bit gory. Do you know what? It actually read as if it was a film as well, and full credit to Grady Hendrix, because the way he wrote it and the way it's been styled and set out, it just brought everything to life, like the setting and the characters and what was happening. And for such a short book as well, he absolutely nailed it. Yes, it is a little bit strange. Yes, it's quirky. But in my opinion, this was flat-packed, creepy fabulousness. And I had the best time while I was reading it. Right, so that was actually my top 10 spooky book recommendations, but I've got a surprise for you. I've got a bonus book that I thought I would throw in at the end, just because it's not technically classed as a horror. I think it's classed more as a thriller. Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. So I know this is technically classed as a thriller, but this book actually gave me Haunting of Hill House vibes. And again, I don't know if it's just me being a bit of a wimp, but some of the scenes in this book genuinely terrified me while I was reading it. So I thought I'd throw it in. It's also got a book within a book element, which I think I have probably said on nearly every one of my videos on this channel, I absolutely love. So in this book, we have got Maggie. She used to live at Banbury Hall when she was little, but her and her family only actually lived there for 3 weeks before fleeing from the house in the middle of the night, and they never went back. However, Maggie's father has recently passed and she goes back to the house to prepare it for sale. But obviously, whilst Maggie is staying there, creepy things start happening, and one of those things is a record player keeps playing in the middle of the night. Honestly, I just love stuff like this. It literally gets right under my skin and gives me the heebie-jeebies. Maggie starts reading her father's book, her father's novel, which she is unsure whether or not this book is fact or fiction, because it's kind of based on Banbury Hall and the unexplained kind of haunted, spooky things that happened in the 3 weeks that they lived there. I bloody love this book, and I actually found it quite creepy, especially the scenes where Maggie was in the house by herself, because it's the age-old thing, isn't it? All these creepy, spooky, horrible things always happen to people when they're on their own and nobody's there to witness it. It's full of suspense the whole way through. The bone-chilling vibes were absolutely immaculate. And also, it was so twisty at the end as well. So this is another one that I would highly recommend if you're just wanting to dip your toe into spooky books to see if they're for you. Right, I promise that is definitely it. So you got 11 for the price of 10 in this video. Please let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books, if you enjoyed them, what you thought of them. And if you did enjoy them, let me know if you've got any recommendations along a similar line. Because honestly, these kind of like gothic, spooky, haunted house vibes are my absolute favourites to read. And I'm literally planning my spooky season TBR as we speak. So if you've got any you think I need to put on there, let me know in the comments. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did enjoy watching, I would absolutely love it if you hit that subscribe button below. Honestly, it does. It means so much to me. Thank you so much for watching. I'll leave it there for now, and I'll catch you all next time.